Yeah, because some of you come around on this side over here. Yeah, come on. I don't want you all bashful now.
No, sir.
Good morning. Could I have everyone's attention just for a moment? And I'm delighted to be joined here by Kathy Webb, the Executive Director of the Arkansas Hunger Alliance, as well as Patty Barker, Director of Arkansas No Kid Hungry Campaign, Grace George, the Child Nutrition Director from El Dorado. Grace, you're there. And Dr. David Wooley, Superintendent of Alma, as well as Eric Saunders, Assistant Superintendent of Benton. So you'll hear from some real educators and program managers about the importance of Arkansas school breakfast program. And educators tell me that nutrition for our children going to school in terms of breakfast makes a difference in their academic performance, makes a difference in better classroom behavior, fewer trips to the school nurse, and better attendance. Those are all objectives that we're trying to accomplish. But educators tell us from their experience these things, but it's also common sense and our life experience. The routine for me in the morning is very important to get me off to a good start, and that routine includes breakfast. And that's also true for our school children, and that is why our state continues to invest, and I'm delighted that our members of the General Assembly that are here that certainly support this and recognize the importance of it and have provided funding for our school breakfast programs. Arkansas is recognized by the Food Research Action Center as one of top 10 states in the nation in terms of offering school breakfast. This is a good record, but we want to stay on the right path, and over 500 Arkansas schools offer breakfast after the bell. This is a good record, and I want to applaud the leadership here for making sure that this happened and to help our school children. This month, March is School Breakfast Month, and I'm delighted to proclaim March as Arkansas School Breakfast Month. And I'd like to ask Kathy Webb to come forward. Let me present this proclamation and ask her to make comments as well. Kathy, thank you for your leadership and making sure that we rank so high in the nation on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you. We want to thank Governor Hutchinson for his leadership. Since day one, he has championed school breakfast and breakfast after the bell. He has done that in many ways. One, by using his platform to do proclamations and raise awareness. Second, he helped us by signing on to a letter that we sent to school superintendents that encouraged them to participate in breakfast after the bell. He's been great about visiting schools, reading to kids, observing how breakfast in the classroom works and the smoothie program works, and has supported legislation that helped us change public policy that made it easier for schools to participate in school breakfast after the bell. So thank you for your leadership. We want to acknowledge two members of the Arkansas Hunger Relief Alliance Board who are here. Maurice Rigsby is here, and Andrew Grubmeyer is here. And also I want to thank a number of the members of the General Assembly. And if I leave you out, just please raise your hand. Senator Kim Hammer and Senator Trent Garner, Representative Bruce Cozart, Representative Fred Allen, Representative Denise Ennett, Representative Lanny Fight, my state representative Tippy McCullough, and my other state representative Jamie Scott. So did I miss anybody? We want to thank you all so much for your leadership in championing and supporting the No Kid Hungry campaign. The Arkansas Hunger Relief Alliance is committed to No Kid Hungry. The progress that we have made would not be possible without the folks we have named, without the leadership of our breakfast director, Vivian Nicholson, who has crisscrossed this state and probably met with every school superintendent in the state, as well as principals, teachers, school nutrition directors. We have so many partners who have jumped onto the bandwagon for many reasons. All of the state agencies have been tremendous advocates and supporters, and partners like Baptist Health, like Highland Dairy, like the Humanities Council, like AEA. A number of those folks are here today as well, and we thank all of you and our other partners who are here today. It's an honor to introduce my colleague and my friend, Patty Barker. Patty has led this campaign for the last almost 8 years. Without her leadership, her passion to feed kids, we would not be where we are. So, Patty Barker.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you for your ongoing support all these years. And thank you again for proclaiming the entire month of March as School Breakfast Month, not only the first week, so we can highlight the positive impact that school breakfast has on student success. Starting the day, as he mentioned, with a nutritious breakfast gives kids that boost they need to learn, to succeed, to thrive. And thanks to a great set of partners, who many of who are in the room today, we're pleased to be continuing for the second year in a row our breakfast theme of books and breakfast equals success, throwing in a little literacy piece there. We're again challenging all schools to not only increase the number of students eating breakfast, but also encouraging those students to bring books to breakfast. And we have to also say happy birthday to Dr. Seuss. What better book to have at your breakfast than one of his books? I want to thank our many partners. So we've got Suzanne Jones and the entire reading initiative for student excellence, RISE Arkansas from the Department of Education, and AETN, or Arkansas PBS, new name, for spotlighting school breakfast all this month, to the Arkansas Campaign for Grade Level Reading for their support and to build strong readers and students, and the Arkansas Humanities Council for providing books to our Breakfast Challenge winners, and to Midwest Dairy, who is our breakfast contest sponsor. And please give a hand to Suzanne Davidson and the entire thing. We've got the entire child nutrition unit of ADE. They support the over 250 plus nutrition directors in the school districts out around the state, and all those cafeteria staff who proudly serve nutritious breakfast to thousands of students every day. And I mean lots and lots of breakfast. I'm happy to report, as the governor mentioned, the Food Research Action Center has released a report showing Arkansas ranks not only in the top 10, but the top 6. We're number 6. We're number 6 in the nation, the percent of low-income students participating in school breakfast compared to lunch, and that's 66.5% of high-need Arkansas students who now enjoy breakfast during the school day. And we've almost reached our goal of 70%, and only one other state has achieved that goal to date. So due to a growing number, as the governor says, close to half of the schools in the state are offering breakfast after the bell. Arkansas has increased our average daily participation just last year by 3,800 students. 3,800 more students each day now starting their mornings focused and ready to learn. So this progress is in line with the steady increase we've seen over the last several years since the No Kid Hungry campaign began, encouraging schools to offer breakfast after the bell, so more students could enjoy either breakfast in the classroom or in convenient locations outside the cafeteria, and some even after first period. So I know you've been wondering about these charts on either side. So over the last 8 years, we've seen an increase, a 5.3 million meal increase in the school breakfast served annually in Arkansas. And that has resulted, and you'll turn over here, in a $15.8 million increase in USDA meal reimbursements going to those school districts so they can recharge their budget and keep those programs going. Let's give those nutrition folks a hand. And not to go unnoted, but lunches are on the rise as well. So now to the important folks in the room, those breakfast heroes, either side of me, who get this work done in their school districts every day. But one person I want to have stand up, because I don't think she did earlier, Vivian Nicholson, our breakfast director, makes this work happen every day. So thank you. So I want to, without hesitation, I would like to bring Grace George, the Child Nutrition Director from El Dorado School District, to tell her story.
Thank you so much, Governor Hutchinson. Thank you for the invitation today. Thank you, senators, representatives, for your continued support in education and through nutrition. El Dorado began their Breakfast After the Bell program in the fall of 2017 with our kindergarten through 4th grade programs. Cafeteria staff prepare meals composed of nutritious items that meet USDA requirements. They put them in insulated bags. They go in carts and wagons. Those carts or wagons are then delivered to the classroom. At that time, when the students come in, then at the beginning of their day, they come in and they get to choose from our wagon, our breakfast wagon, what they want to eat that day. And then they go straight to their desk and they sit down. They begin work. They say good morning. It's a very quiet and calm environment. And it is something that, that's how our programs began. That's where our whole breakfast began, was that year. We saw a growth of over 47% in our breakfast meals that one year. That equates to over 100,000 meals for that one year. Very few children were taking the time to come to the cafeteria and eat, and we know, because we've been told that it's important, but we have proof that it's important. And besides those statistics and those numbers, there's also positive feedback from other people. A parent had commented, "We don't fight to get to school anymore." As a matter of fact, she tells me to hurry up. It's important for those kids to get in that classroom and choose what they get to eat and sit down and be with their friends. A teacher approached me at the end of that first year. "Do we get to do that breakfast program with our kids again?" And I'm not going to tell her no. I said, "Sure, but what is it that you liked about it?" And she said it built community in her classroom. Community is very important in a world where we don't always see that on the outside. It was also, for me, teachers were one of the hardest sales. We're going to lose instruction time if we do anything other than read a book or do our math, and now they're one of my biggest supporters. And they'll say, "We want this or we want this. Can we try this? We heard about this. What about this? Can you not serve cinnamon rolls? They make my child hyper." So, the classroom teacher knows. Ask them anything. So I do. Principals state that it makes their mornings calmer, less chaotic, and students are more focused. What principal wouldn't love to be able to say that in the mornings? Students have enjoyed the variety of options and take ownership and responsibility. It becomes a job to return that wagon or that cart. It's a really big deal to see those kids and be able to pull it back to the cafeteria, and then the managers and the staff greet those students and build that relationship. El Dorado has continued that effort. That was the beginning. So when you see that much increase in one year, you want to go, it doesn't stop. You want to go, what's next? What can we do next? Where can we reach the next kid? So with those students, and we know that we have more students out there to reach, the past 2 years we began serving fresh fruit smoothies in our upper grades, and we have started in our younger grades a little bit and kind of introducing that to them. And so for the past 2 years, we have done that, and we are happy to report we have continued our participation increase. It's smaller, but it's still there. So we know that every time we're trying something new and we're pushing it out there, students are accepting that, and they're coming in and they're getting those smoothies. They're getting those yogurt parfaits. The things that they're seeing advertised on TV, we have those for our kids, and we want them to know they're important enough to do this for them. As we expand, we are a CEP program, and as we expanded into that program where every child in our grades kindergarten through 8th get a free breakfast, free lunch, we had to find other ways to implement breakfast. Not everybody's going to fit in the cafeteria, so we do a grab and go in our middle school and in our junior high where carts go to another location. The student doesn't even have to come into the cafeteria. They get to pick their breakfast at another location and go to the common area. And they'll do that before the bell, but it is another way that that child gets to eat and be where they need to be. So that's important. They're getting that meal before they get into the classroom. Several people are instrumental in the success of this: cafeteria staff, school staff, principals and teachers, Mr. Tucker, my superintendent, and program directors like Vivian Nicholson with No Kid Hungry. She is a wonderful resource and helps with grant opportunities that have been made available. Through these grants, we have been able to purchase bags, carts, wagons, even extra trash cans and trash bags when needed. El Dorado has not reinvented the wheel. We made our wheel to spin. For those considering the breakfast after the bell, find the resource, ask the questions, make it your program. It is the right choice for your students. It is absolutely the right choice for my students in El Dorado. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. Thank you, El Dorado. Let's hear it for 100,000 more meals. That's fabulous. Next, I'd like to introduce Dr. David Wooley from Alma.
Thank you, Patty. I could just endorse everything you've already heard and step back, and so I'll try not to be too repetitive. We've probably been serving breakfast to students at Alma for probably 30 years, but it was the traditional come to the cafeteria and have breakfast. 6 years ago, I believe it was, we decided that there were too many students not eating. Lifestyles have changed at home, as probably as all of you have experienced in your own life. And that probably was the biggest part of it. So we decided to try this. We started at the primary school, breakfast in the classroom. And it operates very similarly to what you just heard. All of our classrooms are carpeted, and the first thing we heard from teachers was, "You want to do what in my classroom?" Custodians, of course, also. That's, of course, not any kind of a problem. I would tell you now that if we were, for some strange reason, decide that we were going to end this program, we would have a rebellion on the teacher's part. As you heard, it is a difference maker in academic performance for students in the morning. That's hard to quantify, perhaps, but anecdotally, teachers tell us all the time, especially the ones that were here before, that the number of students that they have that are sleepy, that want to go to the nurse with a stomach ache, those sorts of things, has just plummeted to almost nothing. It's truly a difference maker. We expanded it all the way, very quickly, we expanded it all the way to all students up through 12th grade. It operates differently on the secondary level. Students can pick up their food at the secondary level. It's available to them starting quite early in the morning, as early as any students get to school. They can get it any time up until after the first bell rings for them to go to their first class. They can eat in the student union. They can eat in the promenade. They can take it to class with them. We don't care. We went from feeding 35 or 40% of our students breakfast to feeding the great majority of them, practically everyone. The only ones that don't eat breakfast are those that had a good breakfast at home, and some of them get another breakfast after they get to school, which is fine with us. We don't have a particularly high free and reduced rate, and we knew, therefore, that this was going to be a cost issue for us. We operate everything we do from the premise of we're there to help our young people become successful adults, and that covers lots of territory. So it was not difficult for me to justify putting money into the child nutrition program to cover the excess cost of breakfast, and it's several $1,000s, it's several tens of thousands of dollars annually, but I consider that an educational cost. The difference it's made for our young people in what they're able to do and able to get accomplished in the classroom in the mornings is, as I said, it's difficult to measure, but you just have to walk in the classroom and you immediately see everyone is engaged, and having had breakfast is a big part of that. We're, of course, always, like anybody else, we're looking constantly to what can we do better, what can we do more of, and we're looking at some options on the secondary level of some facility renovation that will one thing we're looking to do at the high school is off of our promenade, create, for lack of a better term, a Starbucks type operation in the mornings. Not branded that, I just use that as a description. To make it even more attractive to students and to entice them to even more participate. Can't sing its praises highly enough. It's been a game changer for us, and it was something that we will certainly continue to try to enhance. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Wooley. Thanks for being a long-term partner with No Kid Hungry, and y'all have done a great job in Alma. And next, another long-term partner and champion for breakfast, Dr. Eric Saunders from Benton.
Good morning. At the risk of sounding like a broken record, I'll be kind of brief, but I just want to reiterate everything that you've heard and the benefits that you've heard from the other schools. We've witnessed that in the Benton School District as well. We've done breakfast in the classroom. We're really just initiating the program. We started it at one of our elementary schools, Angie Grant Elementary, and that is kindergarten through fourth grade students. With that, some of the benefits that we've seen, like you've seen in the other districts, such a decrease in the visits to the nurse's office. We've seen a decrease in the number of tardies. One interesting thing about tardies is when we have students that show up for school late, parents bring them in, typically the question there at the front desk is, well, is breakfast still being served? Can they still get that breakfast? And so that lets you know how important it is that they're thinking about that when they're running late, when they're busy, when they're trying to get things done. We've also seen an increase in our overall attendance as well as our test scores. Lastly, all of this relates, I think students are spending more time in class. We're meeting more of their needs. When they have a need unmet, it's hard to get them to learn. And when a kid's hungry, when their stomach's growling, we cannot expect them to perform academically. And I think this is one way to do that. We started off, we had about 33% of our kids that were participating in breakfast, and now it's almost 100%. So we think this is a success. This is kind of tells you if only a third of the kids were eating breakfast before, 2/3 of them were hungry before. So they're no longer hungry. So I think this is just another example of meeting the needs of students. Thank you.
Yes, in summary, hungry kids can't learn, and these guys are making a difference in their districts and are setting examples for other leaders in other districts of how they can change the way, maybe slight changes, maybe big changes in the way they offer breakfast so more kids get that boost they need to succeed. So thank you, Governor, again, for giving us this platform to share some of these best practices of how school breakfast is being served around the state. And thank you to all our breakfast heroes in the room who have not been highlighted today, but I know the work is going on. And breakfast plays a vital role in student success, as you heard all these leaders say. And the Arkansas Hunger Relief Alliance and the No Kid Hungry campaign partners, and we remain committed to supporting all Arkansas school districts to develop the best practices and the best methods that they can that work in their schools so all of their students start every day with a nutritious breakfast so they are focused and ready to learn so they will succeed. So thank you all for being here today. Also want to remind you that it's census time. Sometimes and often kids are underrepresented in the census, even for those families that do fill out the form. They're underrepresented. Those students are being fed at school, and those counts make a big difference on how they're reported to USDA and to get those reimbursements and to continue these strong programs for these kids. So please support that census-taking effort, and don't forget to vote tomorrow. And be sure, if you tell your story on Instagram, to go to #BooksandBreakfastAR, and you can tell your own success story. Thank you very much.